So when it comes time to move your families to a different location, we're gearheads. Let's face it, we want to know how big is the shop? What does the shop have to offer so that way we can continue doing our stuff? Well, the house is perfect. The garage, not so much. Let me share with you a few things that you probably ought to be aware of when you're looking for houses and future shop space. So right off the bat, something to be concerned about, the door frame. Typically, if this is in rough shape, you're in for an interesting story. Let's go inside. Number one thing to keep in mind, lighting. What does it have? I'm blessed to have light in here. Granted, it's just one light, and it doesn't exactly light this thing up in a nice, cheerful way. There is some lighting over here on a small switch attached to the workbench, but those fluorescent lights are a little bit questionable at best. So immediately after looking at lighting, the next thing I'm probably going to start looking at is the floor, or in my case, the dirt floor. If you have a cement floor, you're going to want to be looking for cracks, heaves around the edges, things that would indicate that there are some settling issues and the cement looks more like, surfs up as opposed to a flat spot to work on your hobbies. So I brought up lighting. Let's continue to talk electrical while we're here. Now keep in mind, there's a lot of garages and shop spaces out there that are more prone to DIY modifications than, let's say, the house would be. So the garage tends to see a little bit more hackery. In this case, I've got an old style fuse box, not even the conventional circuit breaker box sub-panel like we're used to seeing. Nope, those are old fuses that were actually sourced, used from other projects. Now, that's not a bad way to go, going and seeking used parts to be able to do the electrical and stuff. Believe me, I'm going to go searching for a used sub-panel. But it's going to be able to handle some current so I can actually wire the shop up to run something like my welder, my compressor. So keep in mind, electrical can get scary. Let me show you more electrical scariness so you don't burn things to the ground. So this shop came with a workbench, which I haven't done much with except pile stuff on top of it because it'll get organized soon. Got my toolbox up, but something important to know is that there are electrical outlets along this thing. They're a little questionable. I mean, the way that they've just got the wire just in, no conduit, that's, to me, says a little bit of sketchiness going on. The fluorescents on top, they come from a switch over here on the side of the workbench and up. And I'm looking at it, noticing they go into the top of that one and in and out of the top of this one. But that wire, all it does is loop around back up through there and is actually just tucked in there, just holding itself up there away from anything, which is particularly funny because it's just sitting there in between the metal structure. Why did that ever seem like a good idea? I don't know, but I've got some electrical hazards to fix. Let's talk about more things to be aware of when looking at your shop space. Sometimes shop space comes with extra 2x4s and stuff. Never a bad thing. You never know when you're going to need a 2x4 or something. But if you look along where the wall meets the ceiling, if you can see light, that means it's not particularly sealed, and that also presents other problems. Let me show you. I've got these mud dauber nests everywhere. So that means I'm really going to have my work cut out for me when it comes summertime, keeping the bugs out of here. They are all over the place. So when you have things like that that aren't sealed, or doors that aren't sealed well, it actually invites pests to come in and make their home in your home away from home. So before we go outside and talk about some of the things out there, let me show you the doors. Now, this is not the typical roll-up door. This is a slidey left to right kind of door, and it's halves, kind of think barn door style, but they actually have something that you need to maintain a little bit too. Let me show you. Back out into the blinding light, the trough in the dirt where the door goes back and forth, you need to be able to keep that clear so that way the door can actually close against the other door and not have a buildup of rocks. I got to grab a shovel and pull that clear, and also the track down here, this one just happens to have a wheel in it, that's got to stay clear, as does all the way out, so that way the door does its thing. Plus, you also have the slidey track up top, which does also need to stay clear and clean, so that way you can get the door open and closed. Because I mean, I got four-wheelers. Currently, my wife's car's in here. I would like to be able to get my stuff out of the garage, too. Just let me know when you see another problem. Yep, these are trees. These are indigenous to the area. They're kind of a weed tree. They plant themselves and grow like crazy. But you got to be aware of what's on the outside of the shop because it can also tear the crap out of the walls and ruin the space that you're trying to build hot rods in. I've got a fair bit of deforestation to take care of, and some of these trees are pretty big. Yeah, they go up there a ways. Guess I better get good to the chainsaw, huh? So keep that in mind. Trees along the shop or any building, they're going to need to be taken care of. And also keep in mind that typically your shop space isn't going to make or break the purchase of a new house. Your family's got to like the house, you've got to like the shop, and typically we can fix this stuff easier than we can fix house stuff. But, still, you got to keep in mind what you're going to have to put up with as you go through this. So I got electrical stuff to clear up, and definitely trees. One last thing, we're back to electrical, if you can believe it. If you have the opportunity to be able to get to the electrical box easily, and you know where the shop is run to in terms of stuff here, you can open this up and figure out how much capacity you have to the shop. I've got 40 questionable amps to the shop space. That's going to be getting upgraded here real soon. Not that any one of these things is that hard. Just keep in mind what you're getting yourself into so that way you can fix it. I think I'm going to be spending a little bit of time sharpening my AC electrical skills, and the rest of it I'm going to take care of as I have time. That's just how it's going to have to be, because I still got hot rods to build, races to go race, and a shop to take care of. And there's also no harm in paying someone to help you do this stuff too. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you later.